Hey guys, on this week's show, my 2024 build is going up against my comp crawler. Now this is a LCG crawler, as you can see. There is no suspension left in it. It has a little bit of droop, but it doesn't have a lot of droop. It just falls down right to the bottom to get the CG as low as possible to do high steel climb and intense side hilling. Now, this truck on the other hand is just a normal build, but has a little ace up its sleeve. It does have suspension left in the chassis. It sits on a ladder chassis. This also sits on a ladder chassis. It's not sitting on a fiberglass rail, or how do you call it, the SCX10 Pro Comp Crawler chassis rails, something like that. So they're both sitting on ladder chassis, and this one has a normal skid plate, and this one has a skid plate where you can lift up the links and put them higher up, and on top of it, this skid plate is flat to the chassis rail. We have a LCG truck versus against a normal suspension setup truck. Let me show you quickly the difference between the skid plates. So let's take the LCG truck, where you can see that it still has a normal chassis plate sitting in here, which is lower, or it sits lower than the actual chassis rail. Now that also means that the links are sitting lower, and the lower these links go, the more it pushes. So if you're driving up a steep hill climb, the lower this link sits, the more it pushes from the bottom, and it will lift the front of the truck up. If you can get this link up tucked in as high as you can, that means it does the opposite way, the opposite force. It will push the front of the truck down instead of pushing it up. Taking my 2024 build, you can see the chassis plate sits flat in here, and my links are a lot higher. They really tucked in, and let me quickly demonstrate the difference. So here I have two very, very different skid plates. So this is a fairly standard skid plate. It sits a little bit lower in the ladder chassis, and if I measure from the center of the ladder chassis to where the bottom links go in or get installed, I am sitting at about 1 centimeter. So the links are sitting 1 centimeter lower than the actual chassis rail. And on this skid plate, as you can see, it looks a lot different. So this is where the rear links get mounted, and this is where the front links get mounted. But you kind of have a choice. If you play around with this a little bit, you do have a choice of putting your links at the bottom or putting them as high as possible. So my lower links on this truck sit on the highest section of the skid plate, meaning if I measure this from the center to the highest point, my links would be sitting, adding the 1 centimeter from this, because it is going from down there basically to up here. So I have, from this section, I have a 1.3 centimeter difference in height, meaning from the original point where the link goes, I am 2.4 centimeters higher up. So basically what that does for me is the link at the bottom is pushing the nose of the truck upwards. If the link is connected at the top, it pushes the nose of the truck downwards. So basically this is a comp truck, LCG truck, and this is a normal crawler, and it sits way higher in the suspension than the comp truck does. So with a skid plate, I don't really need an LCG truck. I still have suspension travel in this truck. I've got big bore shocks in here where I enjoy the travel that the truck has, but I'm getting a lot more performance out of this. The truck doesn't lose balance, it doesn't roll over backwards. I can punch it up an incline and I can still enjoy almost as much the performance that the LCG truck gives me. Let's go out on a trail and just give these two a little rundown. I have got a little trail set up here, and we're just going to take a couple of lines. I'm thinking that is quite a nice steep line, using this big boulder coming down this little section here, and at the bottom here I have cleaned out the area, and then I want to do a steep climb coming into this big boulder and maybe then dropping off at the bottom. Let's see how they do. First up, we're going to grab the scrambler. Okay, let's head out. Also, I would never see this rock as a line with all my other trucks. Only now that the trucks have become so capable, I consider this a line that I can actually crawl up. There we go. What happens here every time is that rock slider, because it just ends, it doesn't go all the way through to the front, always gets stuck in that little ditch. So I kind of got to hook a little right turn to see if I can lift that up there. Come on, there. She just managed to slip over. That little edge just slipped over. And let's see if we can carry on. There we go. Brilliant. Now you saw this truck on last week's show where I was comparing it to the Fusion, and this is still with the same transmission transfer case. Everything is still the same, and the reduction box. So let's see if we can get a super slow crawl out of this and get a steep climb. And you can see there, this truck just sits there and it just wants to carry on. This is not even the limit. It could actually do a little bit more. Creeping it through. Slow crawl. Oop, losing my step there for a second. I think I need to just line that up as far as possible to the side. Let's hope she doesn't tip over on this. There, dropped my wheel onto that rock, and easy going. Come on, just touching the accelerator, just touching. Oh, she's sliding off on the front wheel. She can do this, I know she can do this. There we go, straightening the wheels to get more balance out of the truck, not to lose the balance to the front. If you steer too much on an obstacle like this, going down on a steep obstacle, you steer too much, the truck loses its balance. A little left turn, slight left turn. There, that tire just needs to touch that rock. Once I have pressure on the tire, I will straighten its wheels again. Now I am balancing the truck quite gentle through this obstacle. Oop, that was a bit too much. As you can see, as soon as I start steering, everything goes haywire. Oh, dropped it down. That wasn't too bad. Get that front tire up. And now we got to drop it through this little section here. Straightening the wheels just a touch. Now full steer. Keeping my... and off she goes. Okay, hang on. Let's do that again. Okay, maybe a backup is in place. Not to get too much of a side hill angle on the truck. Get it halfway back up there, and that was a bit too much steering, but let's see if I can get the truck. I think I can straighten the wheels and basically try and get this tire onto that rock. Gentle, easy does it. Oh yes, and she is sitting. I mean, that's almost vertical. That is brilliant. Now the truck doesn't have any front bumpers. My steering stays straight as I crawl out of that situation, and coming straight in to the next obstacle. And left steer there, and a little left steer, a little, okay, more left, hooking it up, lining it up for this steep climb, taking it easy. And let's see how she manages here. Will I lose balance on this climb? That skid plate is doing a fantastic job, I'm telling you right now. And I think I need to pump it because I'm going to bottom out on it. Okay, let me punch it. Oh, a little bit. I think I'm actually in the air right now. Okay, got it. Let me put the wheel straight, because I want to go over a little bit to the left side of the truck. So 1, 2, 3, punch. Nothing. Okay, I have to drop her back down, straightening the wheels, going down ever so slightly, a little bit more. She's hanging in there. Ooh, okay, that was too much. And now I'm going to punch it. Ooh, and she just doesn't make it. There's just not enough speed in that reduction box to get. I'm doing a bit of a left turn now to dig my tire in a little more. Ooh, there she goes. As you can see, this skid plate, and this is the reason the links are so much higher up, 2.4 centimeters higher than the normal skid plate, keeping that truck planted in this angle, which is actually incredible. If you would put another skid plate in here or a standard skid plate, this would not be standing there at all. It would just flip over backwards. Okay, let me go a little bit further back, a little left turn, crawling back, and I want to see if I can get it a little bit further to the right and punch it up there. No. Oh, I made it, yes. Wow, well done. Okay, slow crawl, going down, and then I want to drop it to this lower section here. I have to steer into it to get it as parallel as possible. Slowing the truck down, and oh, you hardly did saw that on the camera, sorry guys, but we made it. With a bit of wheel speed, we bounced off that little ledge over there. Okay, let's get the comp truck out here. And this truck is a mix between, I think it has a axial ladder chassis in it, and most of the parts are Element, and I think the axles are still axial. Everything else is Element. Okay, let's get the scrambler back up here. The scrambler, I find it has a bit of a Vanquish touch to it every now and then. Certain angles in the camera. There we go. You have like a Vanquish look. But I just think it's cooler because it's a scrambler. There we go. Fantastic job on this little adventure trail we've got going here. Okay, got the comp truck running. You can hear the Fusion 1800 kV, but it's not a 2-in-1. Has a little fan, and that's what you're hearing right now. I just got to set my winch hook up. There we go. Okay, first obstacle. We do have a slow crawl, obviously. We have a Fusion in this truck. But we also have a very slow speed in this truck from a high speed point of view. Okay, so this is obviously, seeing that it's a comp truck, a bit more capable than the Scrambler is. So I'm just showing you how much that scrambler can actually do, being almost a stock truck or being a standard setup truck, comparing it to a comp truck. Now you could also call the comp truck an LCG truck or a belly scratcher or belly scraper, as you can see right now. Here we have our belly scraper. Let's see if we can get a bit of wheel speed in this. Seeing that I don't have reverse for whatever reason, I'm going to reverse manually back onto the rock and see if I can do that with a bit of speed. Okay, there we go. Oh yes, we can. Okay, keeping a left turn, trying to get that rear tire back up on the rock, and off we go. Gotta watch my step. Quite a few rocks in the way here. Okay, let's crawl down. And let's see. Oh, got it caught there a little bit. Yeah, okay, got it through there. Coming up to this first obstacle, or second actually. Always mixing this up. Doing a slow crawl. And I think I need to do a little punch over the top as well, because that belly is going to scratch. Belly dragger, there we go, we punched that perfectly. Oh, losing my feet, losing my own balance there a little bit. Okay, just steering a little to the right, try and keep in that little line that the rock gives me, and putting that front wheel onto that rock as slow as possible. There we go. And oh, yes, sorry. So there was a difference there. The scrambler did that a little bit easier when it did it. Okay, not like the first time when it fell off. All right, belly scraper, will it be enough to pull through here? On a downhill it is mainly okay. Almost beached out the front bumper there, but we are good. Slight right turn to line up my truck for the next obstacle. Okay, keeping a slow crawl, finding grip. Now this is obviously going to be done with a bit of punch as well. There we go. Let's get those front tires over there first. And let's punch it. Oop. That was no good. Well, let's winch a little bit. Let me get that winch ready. So we've got a bit of winching action from our belly scratcher, belly scraper. Let's start turning those wheels. There we go on the side here. Give it a little bit of power and reel it in. A bit more power, reeling, power, reeling, reeling, a little more speed. Those back wheels are sitting in the air already. Will I make it? Come on. It's a servo winch which is tucked up right in there. All that I have is that little hole where my winch line comes out of. Come on. Jeez, this is quite stuck. Where am I, or why am I so stuck? Come on. There we go, made it. Let's reel that winch back in. Ooh, I hooked it again. Okay, let's hook that winch back up. There we go. Okay, let's keep running. And let's come to the drop off. Oh dear. I think I've burnt my servo out. While I'm steering, and nothing is happening. Well, okay, in this case, I guess we're just going to drive straight down. It's not a lot that I have fails in my videos. Well, let's see if we can get through this. That should be an easy task for this crawler. Okay, seeing that I can't steer, I'm driving straight into the rock. Let me steer it by hand a little bit. Oh yes, I think my servo horn has come loose for some reason. Okay, and down we go. Can I steer? I cannot steer. So I don't have reverse and I don't have steering. Brilliant. That is a brilliant video. Jeez, imp. Oh my gosh. Almost saw my ass twice there. Okay, so we've got two trucks. One comp truck, one stock truck, but you saw how close they were. So just imagine this skid plate in the comp truck. How much better that skid plate would make this comp truck. And I could also allow it not to be as low CG. I could give it a little bit of height so it doesn't become that belly scraper. On the side hilling, both of them, I think the comp truck was a little bit better coming down, where was it, this section where we flipped the scrambler first, but also the comp truck didn't quite make it. But the comp truck is definitely more capable. You saw that in the video. But if you're comparing it to a truck that is almost on stock suspension and long bore shocks, and the travel and the droop is high, it shouldn't be doing what it's doing. So I think all my trucks need a skid plate like this. So basically the skid plate is a kicked skid plate, if you could call it that, but it's not kicked because it still sits level in the actual chassis rail, the axle, or even if it's an element chassis rail, it's sitting in a level section, but it is kicked because the links are sitting so much higher. Comparing it to an absolute standard chassis plate, it would probably be somewhere around 2.4 to 2.8 centimeters difference where the rear links mount to push the front of the truck down. So guys, that's it for me for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.